We have proof that Britney Spears' conservatorship has been corrupt. The Times has received an unreleased report that reveals how bad Britney's situation has been. She's over here making a fraction of what her father makes. She's over-monitored and she's miserable. It's time for the conservatorship to end, and Britney is ready for it. So let's get into it. As you guys know, Britney Spears has been trapped in a conservatorship by her father, James Spears, over the past 13 years. She was put into a conservatorship at 26 years old for dementia. Like, please, someone try to explain to me how Britney has dementia. She has worked so much during her conservatorship, whether it's X Factor or all of the residency shows in Vegas. So she's made a ton of money, and so has her father, maybe even more than she has. Today, we're going to walk through this article published by The Times, which exposes court records that show that Britney has been ready for the conservatorship to end. So thank you so much to The Times for doing this research. One thing I do want to point out, though, is I think it's odd that Britney's like driving a car in the picture because she hasn't been able to drive a car in years being in her conservatorship. In this video, we're pretty much just going to react to the article, and I'm going to pull some bits that I want you guys to be aware of. As you guys know, Britney Spears is speaking to the court on June 23rd. I'm actually going to be listening in, and I will be reporting to you guys either in a live stream or right after with what happens during that court hearing and what Britney has to say, because you know the media is always trying to screw things up. But let's go ahead and just dive into this article. The article starts off with a little bit about her father and others in the conservatorship, describing the conservatorship as a smooth running machine that has rescued Britney from a low point in her life. They also note that Britney has been pretty silent on the conservatorship issue for, as long as I can remember. She really hasn't spoken out against it, and tomorrow, well, June 23rd, I think today when this video is released, it's going to be big news. The breaking news from this article is that The Times has actually obtained confidential court records that reveal that Britney has expressed serious opposition to the conservatorship earlier and more often than previously known. So Britney has been saying for some time she wants out of the conservatorship. The article even claims that the conservatorship has restricted her from changing the color of her kitchen cabinets. Like, what? She's articulated that she feels the conservatorship has become an oppressive and controlling tool against her, a court investigator wrote in a 2016 report. Britney said that the system has too much control over her life. She informed that investigator that she wanted the conservatorship terminated as soon as possible. She's sick of being taken advantage of, and she said that she's the one working and earning her money, but everyone around her is on her payroll. She's pretty much confirming everything we've been talking about for like 2 years now. And remember, in 2019, Britney was forced into a mental health facility because she refused to take her medication during her dominance residency. She also claims that she was forced to perform against her will. You guys may remember that voicemail from that paralegal that was released in April 2019, where they pretty much state that Britney was forced into a mental health facility because of her father. And I'm going to go ahead and play that bit. It's going to be kind of long, so just take your time and listen to this person. Honestly, we don't know who it is, so if we've got some speech specialists out there, I have a few ideas of who I think it is, but I'd love to know who everyone thinks this paralegal is.
Hi there. I cannot disclose who I am, and what is happening is disturbing to say the least. So, basically, Britney was in rehearsals for Domination. It came to Jamie Spears, that Britney was not taking her medication as prescribed. She was missing a lot of doses and just full on not taking them. So they got her to the doctor. The doctor said, okay, if you don't want these medications, let's get you on a new one. Well, she refused to take the new one. So Jamie said, either you take this medication or the show's off, and I'm pulling my support, and you can't do it. Britney has been in the mental facility since mid-January. Of course, the statement yesterday said she entered last week. That is not true. She's been in there since mid-January.
So that voicemail is another piece of proof that shows that Britney was held against her will and put into this facility. But let's go ahead and go back to the article and talk about the records that the Times got a hold of. As early as 2014, Britney was expressing that she's really concerned about her father being her conservator. He's got drinking issues, and even her lawyer at that time was informing the court that he's got some problems that they need to address and possibly remove him. I guess that's a good sign that Britney's lawyer, Samuel Ingham, is actually trying to get her free, but sometimes I still feel a little bit sketchy about him. I think we'll find out a lot when Britney speaks to the court. But keep in mind, guys, that last year in 2020, Samuel Ingham did tell the court that Britney is scared of her father. Imagine being afraid of your own dad. But I mean, James Spears seems pretty scary to me. We're all expecting Britney to bring up her father during this court hearing, and this article also believes that she's going to bring up her dad and removing him from the conservatorship. I did see some rumors, though, that Britney's not going to try to remove herself from the conservatorship because she's going to wait until her boys are 18 years old and that she doesn't have to worry about custody battles and stuff, which the custody situation is so frustrating, and it's so frustrating because it's been held against her for years and years now. The Times took a good look at that report, and some of the things that they found are so shocking. Britney claims that her father was obsessed with her and wanted to control everything about her. According to the investigators' report, she could not make friends without his approval, so he's extremely controlling. Even though she earned millions of dollars from her Las Vegas residency, she was only making about $2,000 a week, which is a lot less than her father. I mean, keep in mind, guys, that she's a millionaire. She should be able to have whatever money that she wants. This part is kind of scary because they claim that any mistakes resulted in very harsh consequences. Very harsh. What does that mean? Getting locked up in the facility again? According to the report, and the conservatorship comes with a lot of fear. So Britney's just living in fear every single day that her kids could be taken from her, that her, freedom it's already been taken from her. So what's left to take? Her kids. Supposedly there was this whole investigation back in 2016, looking into Britney's conservatorship to see if she actually needs to be in it, and they came to the conclusion that she does. The investigator concluded in 2016 that the conservatorship remained in Britney's best interests based on her complex finances. On the finances, that's the first issue, and her susceptibility to undue influence and intermittent drug issues, which I'm pretty sure Britney's been sober from anything besides whatever her team is drugging her up with for years now. The article reaffirms that Britney has problems with her father being her conservator, and that the records provide only a snapshot of what Britney's been going through dealing with him and trying to get out of this legal mess. Every part of this conservatorship is wrong. I mean, even experts tell the Times that, people in conservatorships, they should be able to make choices for themselves, especially if you're trying to make them independent someday, but Britney's not getting any of that. Also, how is she diagnosed with dementia, yet she's been able to perform and profit for over a decade? From day one, Britney was stressing that she did not want her father to run her life, but the judge at the time, Riva Gotez, allowed him to, fulfill that role, and she felt like Britney had no right to a lawyer, and that's when Samuel Ingham was appointed. Something that doesn't make sense to me is why a conservator gets a salary. Why is James getting paid to do this? And I feel like it keeps him wanting to do this and keep Britney trapped trapped in this situation. According to court documents, Britney's father was making about $16,000 a month, plus $2,000 a month for office space rent that he was renting out, I guess. On top of that, he gets a percentage of all of Britney's deals. He received about a 3% commission for his work on Britney's Femme Fatale tour, a 1.5% on the performances in Vegas, and he earned a bunch of money because Britney made millions while on that tour. And that's just what he's getting paid. We don't even know what he's allegedly finessing, allegedly in the background, allegedly. The article then goes into some of the details around James being so controlling. Like, for instance, Britney's comeback tour, Circus, was a dry tour, which means no alcohol, no energy drinks, and, Britney had to be monitored at all times. Also, a former nanny of the Spears family claims that around this time, James was being very verbally hurtful, inappropriate. He was drinking a ton. He was loud. He was reckless, according to court documents in 2010. And you guys know that Britney's father has struggled with alcoholism for a very long time. There are so many stories out there of him misbehaving because he's too drunk, and that's a serious problem, especially for a conservator. In 2014, Britney's lawyer, Ingham, told the courts that he believed that Britney's father was drinking and that he's not supposed to be, and he's supposed to be having check-ins and alcohol tests and etc., but he supposedly wasn't feeling any of those, so they really did not investigate it. Also, Samuel Ingham supposedly told the court that, Britney wants to terminate her conservatorship and that she would be down to retire and just change her lifestyle in general, but the conservatorship needs to end first. Supposedly, the judge considered maybe ending the conservatorship if Britney was in a healthy relationship with a therapist and had 1 year's worth of clean drug tests, but the judge would not guarantee it. And then there's this little bit about Britney's boyfriend, where they write, those gathered, including the judge and lawyers on both sides, raised the possibility that Miss Spears' boyfriend was provoking her discontent, which would mean maybe, I'm assuming they're talking about Sam, right? Is provoking her to, not want to be in this conservatorship, which I feel like, okay, well, if she's able to even conceptualize that she doesn't want to be in it, she should be able to say that she doesn't want to, whether Sam wants her to be or not. But maybe this is from 2014 when she was dating some other guys. I don't really know. It's not really clear who they're referring to. Then the article goes into some detail on how Britney's been unhappy for a very long time. They claim in 2016 that Britney in private was protesting the conservatorship. They also claim that Britney was very angry about the way her life was being run and described security around her at all times. She was also being tested for drugs numerous times weekly. Her credit card was being held by a security team or an assistant and used at their discretion. When Britney wanted to make some cosmetic changes to her home, like restaining her cabinets, she wasn't able to. She was forbidden by her father, who told her too much money was being spent, which that would not be that much money. I don't really understand why he can dictate that. And then finally, the article ends with a little bit about Britney's father and what he's been up to. They claim that James has recently moved back home in Kentwood, where he is known to host crawfish boils and stop by the town's VFW bar, but he mostly keeps to himself. He's just the same old Jamie, his former football coach said. God. Mr. Spears, Mr. James, recently sold the house that Britney grew up in. He has been staying down a winding country road on the outskirts of town in an RV parked at a warehouse that has stored the boxed up relics of his daughter's megawatt career. Wait, so James Spears right now is currently living in an RV down a windy country road on the outskirts of Kentwood, parked at a warehouse where all Britney's things are locked up. Is he trying to paint a sob story? I'm just over here in this RV, just out here protecting my daughter's things. What? Nobody feels bad for you, sir. If you're making $16,000 a month, he could be Airbnb in a bougie part of town. What am I trying to say here? I'm trying to plan my own vacation with James's money. Why is he trying to play pretend he's just his same old self? He's far from that. But I want to hear what you guys think about this article. I mean, I'm shook that Britney is getting paid so little and that she can't even change the color of her cabinets. Like, what is going on here? Also, comment below, what do you think is going to happen during her court hearing? Like I mentioned in the beginning, I will be here to update you guys on what's going on. So until my next video, I will see you guys next time. Bye, friends.